So I've used my Ridgid R4331 planer for a couple projects now, and I've learned a couple things along the way. If you'd like to see my unboxing of this, check out the link below and stay tuned to find out what my tips and tricks are. First off, this thing is heavy. If you plan on putting it away and then just pulling it out for the odd job like I do, you need a cart with some heavy-duty wheels on it. Next is making sure your approaches are set correctly. I like mine perfectly flat. Some people recommend putting in about 1/8 of preload on your ramps. The idea is your sled and wood stock has some weight and will push this down. You can see there's some flex in here. I find keeping it perfectly flat suits my use better. To help minimize snipe, you want to use a maximum wood length of 4 or 5 feet. Any longer than that, and you do start getting a bit of extra wobble because the approach aprons on the planer are so short. On a bench, where you can give it a little extra support, you can definitely go longer, but my recommendation is to keep it shorter. These pieces here are roughly 2 feet in length, and they actually work really well in this planer. To keep snipe to a minimum, make sure you lock your height adjustment. This will prevent any additional wobble and make sure you're getting consistent height on your wood as it's planed. Dust collection is a necessity. My solution is pretty simple. I'm using a 3D printed part to adapt from the planer to some dryer hose, and then down there I have a Rubbermaid garbage bin that I've cut a wooden top for and put some vents in to let the air out but keep all the wood chips inside. So a sled is an absolute must. I'm using a piece of old countertop. You can see the countertop side on the bottom. And then a strip of wood screwed in here so that when the wood that you're planing is sitting here, it has something to be pushed against as the planer pulls it through. And then some shims. An old door shim kit, as well as some 3D printed shims is what I use. So this helps keep your wood perfectly stable as you go through the planer on the first side, so it doesn't rock and you end up with a nice flat surface. I like to use the indicator to help setting the height on the first pass for each side. So move it up, slide your wood under slightly, and then just lower until it starts to indicate. There we go. Now we'll lock it and we're good to go with our first pass. After my first pass, I'll just use the crank to determine how much I'm taking off rather than the indicator. Usually I'll go a half or a full turn depending on how much I'm trying to take off. So we've fed it through on the sled and we have a nice flat side. We can now flip it over and run it through without a sled because it is sitting nice and flat and plane off the second side. Sometimes it's hard to see where the planer's touched and hasn't. So a quick pencil squiggle and run it back through the planer and you'll know if you're getting the whole board or not. Make sure you have a good sander. As the blades wear, they'll start to leave some little trails in the wood, as well as for the snipe. You will have to give everything a good sanding once you're done planing. A jointer would be a nice companion to the planer to join pieces of wood together to create larger surfaces, but it's not necessary. A table saw or a router table can get you pretty close in terms of what a jointer can do. You just have to take a little extra care to make sure you're getting your edges nice and straight with no little grooves or jags. If you're joining wood together like I do in most of my projects, you'll want to use biscuits to do that. Here I have a joiner which puts the holes in the sides of the wood stock for the biscuits, or you can use a router with a biscuit bit. Either way works, but I would suggest is required if you're doing that kind of work. Always take your health and safety seriously. This thing is seriously loud and creates a huge amount of dust. Hearing protection and a dust mask is necessary. I hope you found these tips useful. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video and hit subscribe. If you hit subscribe, it helps support my channel so I can make more videos like this for you. Thanks for watching.